Hello, and welcome into the Ringerverse, your Nexus feed for all things fandom. I am Ben Lindbergh of Button Mash fame, and I'm happy to once again be your guide to the wide and wonderful world of Ringerverse Recommends. At the end of each month, your magnificent 7 Ringerverse and House of R hosts, with support from friends and frequent guests, join forces for these mini mashup pods, in which we pay tribute to new movies, video games, TV shows, books, comics, and more that we've enjoyed but haven't had a chance to discuss in depth. The goal is to give you some hot tips about titles to check out, while we let our fandom flags fly and range farther afield from the most massive releases. This is the 6th edition of Ringerverse Recommends, and the second that's on YouTube too, in case you're excited to see me saying these words into my microphone. I think the collection of picks on this pod might be our best yet. This month, our main feeds have been full of Marvel and DC and the Lord of the Rings, as well as big gaming franchises, so we're spotlighting some slightly lesser-known stuff as we catch up on what we've missed. But don't worry, we won't have too many hipster picks in store. We've still got some Star Wars and Marvel on tap for today. And even though the second half of Emily in Paris Season 4 came out in September, we talked Jomi out of recommending his hate watch of choice for the second straight month. Fortunately for him, though, Netflix renewed it for a 5th season, probably because it got the Ringerverse Recommends bump. Jomi is just one member of our excellent lineup today. The hosts with the most are all here as we wave goodbye to the summer and start focusing on fall. It's been a while since our last Mallory Rubin recommendation, but she vowed to return this time, and unlike Grayson Rodriguez of her beloved playoff-bound Baltimore Orioles, she has rejoined the rotation. I'll be back at the midpoint to make my selection, and then again at the end to recap the picks, tell you what's in store for our feeds in October, and share a listener nomination, which we always welcome at ringerverserecommends@gmail.com. But we'll begin by summoning Mal, who comes back to us now at the turn of the tide.
There is no escape.
What in the...
Excuse me!
Darth Jar Jar? Ridiculous.
Oh, time to go!
X-Wing TIE Fighters?
Ewok bounty hunters?
You spend your life telling stories about heroes? Maybe it's time to be one.
Woohoo, yeah!
Hello, it's Mal, and this month I am here to recommend LEGO Star Wars Rebuild the Galaxy. This 4-episode miniseries dropped as a binge on Disney Plus on September 13th, and each of the episodes is less than 30 minutes. It is super zippy, and honestly, if they put out one of these a day, I would watch one a day. That's how good this was. The story centers on Nerf herder Sig Griebling and his brother Dev, as well as merch legend Jedi Bob, making his anticipated on-screen debut. And the premise is, in essence, when Sig discovers the cornerstone of the galaxy in a secret Jedi temple on his home planet, he unwittingly shakes up the building blocks of the galaxy like he's shaken up a bag of Lego bricks. Suddenly, Palpy's good, Rey's bad, Luke's a pod racer on the watery oasis of Tatooine, etc., etc., etc. Things are different, except Grogu is still precious. That is eternal, unchanging. And what ensues across these 4 episodes is a genuinely inventive, charming, and hilarious mini saga call to adventure in which the Lego bricks are way more than just a pathway to really clever animations or future Lego sets to buy, though, I mean, of course, they are also both of those things as well. The bricks also help, though, to unlock these really rich and poignant themes in the story in a universe of Force builders and Sith breakers, where the same stories that we as Star Wars fans have loved are also the stuff of legend in universe for kids like Sig. The building blocks of life, like the connections that you forge or the choices that you make or the little things that might click into place differently, can lead to a world where the Falcon becomes the Dark Falcon, or a family member becomes a Sith Lord, or someone you're not expecting might await under a given signature helmet. Rebuild the Galaxy lovingly inverts a ton of classic Star Wars roles and subverts our ingrained expectations as fans in a really clever way. And it's also an unrivaled treasure trove of references and fan theory nods, from a frankly iconic wink to the internet's Darth Jar Jar obsession to a wild new spin on the Han Greedo Who Shot First sequence. Ton of Star Wars legends are back to voice their roles, including Mark Hamill, and the bounty of new voices and characters also await, including Servo. We've got a new droid buddy to love. When we finished watching this, my husband declared that this was the best season of a Star Wars TV show since Andor. And if you treat yourself to this brisk, shiny little gem, as alluring as the cornerstone itself, you might find that you agree.
What's up? It's Van Lathan. Ringiverse Recommends September. I originally didn't have anything to do for Ringiverse Recommends. I was playing the same things, doing the same things, being the same person. But the last week and a half, a game was released, the Marvel vs. Capcom fighting series game. It's all your favorite fighting games that involve X-Men, Capcom, and all of that stuff. And I was able to rekindle my love for Marvel vs. Capcom 2, The New Age of Heroes. Been playing it non-stop. PlayStation 5. I bought a Quamba Obsidian 2 joystick. It came to the house. I unwrapped it. I plugged it in. I began to play. I played with Magneto. I played with Sentinel. I played with Storm. I played with Cable. I played with Tronbot. I played with Surfbot. I played with Iron Man. I played with War Machine. I played with a guy. I played with Captain Commando, Ryu, Dan, Ken, Akuma, Spiral, Doom. Played with them all. I've been playing so much that I haven't been getting very much sleep, which is why I feel the way that I feel right now. I played the game, and then I started watching the Vince McMahon documentary. I don't know who made it or who produced it or where it came from, but I've been getting a lot of rest. And I hope that you guys don't get the rest by playing this game. It's fantastic. It's taken over my life. I'm playing video games too much. I'm a 44-year-old man. I need to think about my future. Maybe later. I recommend that you guys play the game. It's fantastic.
Have you ever dreamt of a better version of yourself? Younger, more beautiful, more perfect. One single injection unlocks your DNA and will release another version of yourself. This is the substance.
What's up, Ringiverse? It's me, Joe Me. You may know me as 1/4 of the Midnight Boys, 1/2 of Mid Edition, or just the one guy who thinks Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. should be referenced in the MCU in some form or fashion. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here for Ringiverse Recommends, and what I'm recommending for September is The Substance. Now, I know you've heard a lot about this movie online, on Reddit, on Twitter. Everybody's yelling about it, but just listen to me right now. You gotta go watch it, okay? It stars Demi Moore in an amazing performance, just a truly transcendent performance from her, with Margaret Qualley and Dennis Quaid also doing amazing stuff, okay? And what it says about aging and what it means to be older in a society that is very superficial. Oh my gosh, what a film. Again, a lot of people are talking, okay? Don't listen to them. Just go down to your theater, buy a ticket, and watch the film, and then come back to me. Okay, that's all you need to do. Don't Google nothing. Don't ask nobody about nothing. None of that. Just go, buy the ticket, and then go see the movie. That's all you need to do. Okay? Because if you start hearing all this stuff from other people, they ain't gonna start saying stuff, and we don't want that. Okay? You ain't gotta listen to nobody. Okay? Except for me. So go watch The Substance, all right? And then tell me what you think. You can at me wherever you feel that you need to at me at, and we can talk about it there. But until then, don't. Again, I cannot stop repeating this. Don't talk to anybody about it. Just go see the movie and then talk to me. Okay, you can talk to me, but don't talk to anybody else. Don't talk to anybody before you see the movie. Talk to people after you see the movie. That's the mindset you got to be in, all right? So for this September, I am recommending The Substance. Go watch it, but don't Google anything. Just watch it. Just watch it.
Who's Beetlejuice?
Don't ever say that name.
Beetlejuice.
No, Astrid! I am serious! If you say his name 3 times, he will appear.
Beetlejuice.
The juice is loose. I'm gonna make you so happy.
Hey everybody, Arjuna here. For Ringerverse Recommends September, I'm gonna recommend a movie. Beetlejuice Beetlejuice. It's not gonna be the greatest movie you've ever seen. This isn't The Godfather. This isn't the insert your favorite movie here. But it is a festive option in terms of being something that is in line with the Halloween spooky season, and it's just a fun follow-up to the original Beetlejuice. I'm not saying it is as good as the original, but Michael Keaton and company are having fun, and it is a movie that you can kind of just enjoy for what it is and have fun with. So I definitely recommend it if you have some free time and you want something that isn't super lore heavy and is just kind of a nice palate cleanser and gets you in the mood for Halloween. So yeah, go check it out if you want, or don't. It's totally up to you. You could do whatever you want with your time. I'm just recommending it. So that is my Ringerverse recommends for September. Back to you, Ben.
Hey everyone, it's Ben Expletive Lindbergh again with my recommendation. My 7th wedding anniversary is coming up in October, and I'm happy to say I can still recommend Marriage. But I've been with my wife for 13 years, more than a third of my life. We've made a life together. We've made a home together. We've made a daughter together, who turns 3 today. Happy birthday, Sloan. But as hard as it is to imagine my life without my wife, I must admit, I've been in a longer relationship with Daryl and Carol from The Walking Dead. The Walking Dead won't quit, and I can't quit it, and thus I'm here to tell you about Season 2 of The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon, a.k.a. The Book of Carol, which premiered on AMC on Sunday. As you may recall, this series was tentatively titled Daryl and Carol and was supposed to feature both characters from the start, but Melissa McBride pulled out of Season 1 because of logistical complications. However, she did appear in the last scene of that season, in which she set out to find Daryl, who when we last saw him was wrestling with whether to return to America or stay with his new-found family in France. The Walking Dead ended almost 2 years ago, but hasn't gone away thanks to 3 spin-offs focused on some of the flagship series' core duos, Maggie and Negan, Rick and Michonne, and Daryl and Carol. Just as Rick and Michonne's The Ones Who Live was about reuniting Michonne, The Book of Carol is about reuniting Care Bear and Dare Bear, everyone's favorite friends without benefits. The Book of Carol is better than some recent spin-off series whose titles start with the Book of, but it doesn't feel as fresh or focused as Season 1, which was such a welcome change of scenery for this franchise that Mal and I actually covered it on House of R. For better or worse, some of Season 1's characters get mothballed to make room for Carol, who in addition to tracking down Daryl is also searching for closure on past traumas that she hardly had time to process in the original Ensemble series. It's still satisfying to see Carol lying and deceiving, Daryl grunting and neglecting his hygiene, and Carol and Daryl killing dozens of undead and living enemies with knives and flails and crossbows and rifles. However, all of the frustrating tropes of the franchise return. Impenetrable plot armor, nonsensical decisions, fanatical antagonists, etc. I've argued before that the weakness of the Walkers forces the franchise's writers to dumb down the characters to create tension. The first episode hinges literally and figuratively on a door that for some reason automatically swings open whenever the power goes out, and which a supposedly competent character can't be bothered to secure in any other way. Which is convenient because Walkers forgot how to turn doorknobs after Season 1. Also, when a henchman has a hero cornered, their finger tightens on the trigger, a shot rings out, and it turns out some savior arrived and gunned down the gunman just in time. The Book of Carol pulls that move more often than any other series I've seen. It's not a spoiler to say that the dynamic Daryl-Carol duo survives this season. The series has already been renewed for a 3rd season set in Spain and featuring both McBride and Norman Reedus, so this series seems to be turning into The Walking Dead meets The White Lotus. Where in the world are Daryl and Carol? They may have loved ones waiting at home, but I'm all for extending this post-apocalyptic world tour, one 6-episode season at a time. At one point this season, Daryl tells his platonic BFF, "We keep going, all right? That's what we do." That's what I do too when new Daryl and Carol content comes out. Only death could do our thruple part, and nothing, not French fascists or fundamentalists, not performance-enhanced walkers, not even the stupid mistakes of less able allies can kill Carol and Daryl. Maybe I'm making a stupid mistake by sticking with this franchise for so long, but I've been watching this one true pairing for 14 years. I'm not about to stop now.
We are at a crossroads. The purpose of this hearing, and any that may follow, is to determine what, if any, changes need to be made to the current rules and regulations that govern the magical community. As has been covered by the press ad nauseum, the departments in charge of magical youth and magical adults have recently come under heavy scrutiny. With the dissolution of extremely upper management, the departments are without permanent leadership.
What's up, bad babies, Midnight Riders, and the rest of the Ringer-verse crew? I'm Joanna Robinson, and I'm here today to recommend another book for you. I've got my September book is T.J. Klune's Somewhere Beyond the Sea. This is a sequel to The House on the Cerulean Sea, which came out a couple years ago. And if you're unfamiliar with this series, it takes place on an island. There's a bunch of magical kids who've been ostracized by society, and they sort of have found each other under the guise of some kind adults in a house on an island. And it's a very, Charles Xavier school for gifted youngsters in that way. It's very found family. It's very sweet. It's very cozy. I would say the first book was almost a little too cozy for me, a little too many, pumps of syrup in the pumpkin spice latte. This is more of a gingerbread latte. It's a little clovier, a little spicier. It's got a little edge to it. It's got a backstory for Arthur, one of the main characters, as well as picking up the action sort of right after where the first book began. So if you want something that's cozy, sweet, but not sickly sweet, I would say Somewhere Beyond the Sea, T.J. Klune. Enjoy! Bye!
俺生まれて初めてね、あれを見失ってんですよ。皆さんと会うごとに。あの世とこの世を行ったり来たりなんだよね。俺やってるうちにね、どっちが現実でどっちが虚構なのか分かんなくなるんだよ。多分。境界線をさ、もう越えちゃったんだもん。
All right, so my recommend this month is going to be a weird one, but I'm recommending one of just my favorite movies and documentaries of this year. It's called How Miyazaki and the Heron. If you've seen The Boy and the Heron, it's available on Max, it's available on Netflix, but it's this wonderful kind of culminating film by Miyazaki that's bringing in decades upon decades of his influences, and the documentary follows the years that he's making it. And the reason that it's one of my favorite documentaries is that it's this very inside and sad look at this creator towards the end of his life, and he's losing all of these anime icons that helped him build this industry and build this culture of anime, and just seeing how he's reacting to making one of his final films and putting a lot of the sadness and the existential kind of dread of watching so many of your friends die as they get older, and those exact friends telling you that you need to continue to make your art, you need to continue this movie. This is the things that they were saying as they were dying. It was just such a powerful documentary. It's everything that I want when I watch this type of stuff. So Miyazaki and the Heron, documentary out. You can watch it on Max. It's amazing. Couldn't recommend it enough.
What's up, Ringerverse? It's producer Kerm here, and I know what you're thinking. Here he goes again with the X-Men comics. I know that's my thing, but I'm switching it up. We're going right next door. We're doing Ultimate Spider-Man by Jonathan Hickman and Marco Checchetto. That's gonna be my pick this month. We're up to issue number 9 now. As you can see, we got Sinister Six on the cover. If you haven't read this series, if you want to, catch up, we got the first 6 issues just published on paperback, actually, if you want to just catch up that way, or if you want to hop on Marvel Unlimited to read those issues. But Ultimate Spider-Man is essentially this iteration of the Ultimate universe. This Spider-Man is Peter Parker reimagined as, a 30-something-year-old man who's already got his nuclear family going with Mary Jane, and they have 2 kids before he gains his powers as Spider-Man. And, I think Hickman just does a great job of building out a world slowly with this Spider-Man. And one of the things that I think is one of the most interesting parts of the whole, storyline is the ideology clash between Peter Parker and Harry Osborn as the comic goes on. But definitely worth checking out. Hurry up, read you those first 6 issues, and you can catch up to get to issue 9. I think, Mint Edition, we might be deep diving on it if I have to say so. So check it out. Peace.
Angels! We're saved! Brothers, we fight! For Ultima! We will cover your approach. Victory or death! Suffer the wrath of Ultima, Hellspawn!
Greetings, soldiers of the Imperium. Producer Steve Allman here to recommend a video game for you again in the month of September. This month's recommendation is Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2. You know Warhammer. It's that thing that Henry Cavill's into, but you don't really know why. Well, you're about to find out why when you play this game. Space Marine 2 takes place in the 41st millennia of humankind, where all-out war breaks out across the galaxy. Main thing is, Warhammer lore is infinite, and you don't really need to know much. The point of this game being, you're a big space marine that shoots cool aliens in front of amazing vistas, and it feels amazing. I think that the first thing that I would have to say about this game that would make me want to recommend it is the fact that it is gorgeous. It has some of the most beautiful skybox vistas that I've really seen in recent memory, and it's shocking because you see these grand epic cathedrals and cityscapes that are being overrun by untold amounts of enemies that are very visually impressive to see in a game. It's up to 3-player co-op. There is a very great but short campaign. There's wonderful co-op missions that you can do with your buddies. You can grind experience in PvP and PvE missions. There's multiplayer. There's great amounts of customization for your soldier. Basically, all the things that make Warhammer so interesting is when you see people paint all these interesting figures where they're little soldiers and they're like, this one's red, this one's blue, this one's black. You get to do all of that levels of customization in an incredible different types of menu systems and different types of subclasses that you can organize your Marines into. That is really, really impressive. I had an amazing time with it, and it's gotten me to read like 4 Warhammer books this month alone. And I'm not going to be stopping anytime soon. I'm absolutely cooked, but check out Warhammer Space Marine 2.
Sometimes to survive, we must become more than we were programmed to be.
All right, it's Ben again, ready to relay our listener nomination. We got several submissions to ringiverserecommends@gmail.com this month, including Jason Zambricki on the 2nd season of K-drama Jongsong Creature on Netflix, Brett Dodasovich on Shonen Jump Plus manga Imperial Cabinet, Anders Drew on Rick Riordan's new Percy Jackson senior year adventures novel, Wrath of the Triple Goddess, Jess L. on An Academy of Liars by Alexis Henderson, and Jamie Borio on Robert's Rebellion, the new fanfiction podcast from the makers of Game of Thrones Season 8 Redux. But the official pick comes from listener Elsie Gagan, who writes in to nominate a film that just won the weekend at the box office. Elsie says, The Wild Robot, which came out last Friday, is the new release from DreamWorks Animation. I had not been able to take my two girls to a movie since Inside Out 2, and with a weekend full of rain, this was the perfect time. Based on Peter Brown's popular children's book series of the same name, The Wild Robot revolves around Roz, an all-purpose robot whose cargo ship crashes near an uninhabited island. As Roz begins to learn more about the island and its inhabitants, she discovers what her true purpose is and how different animals must learn to coexist in order to survive. The most impressive thing about the film is the animation. It is beautiful from beginning to end. You can feel the emotion from each of the animals on the island, and no shot feels wasted. Roz moves clumsily early on until learning to move like the other animals, and everything looks so fluid. The flight scenes of the geese are particularly gorgeous. The voice cast is outstanding. Lupita Nyong'o gives a great performance as Roz, and Kit Connor delivers great emotion as Bright Bill, whom Roz nurtures as her own after her tumultuous arrival. The story hits all the right beats and even subverts expectations at certain points without sacrificing the writing just for the sake of it. As a parent, watching a child grow up and trying to let go while allowing them to experience life is very challenging. Roz has to deal with this while raising Bright Bill, and I felt every bit of that as a parent of young kids. The push to give animated films the same type of credit as live-action movies deserves to be made because of movies like this. It is easily the best animated movie I've seen this year, and I encourage everyone to go see it and enjoy the beauty of what these filmmakers have achieved. The Wild Robot is in theaters now, and you will not regret seeing the beauty of this film on a large screen. Well, Elsie's kids are slightly older than mine, and I think I might regret taking my 3-year-old to a theater. There's an episode of Bluey about that, and it doesn't go great. But when The Wild Robot comes to streaming, we will be watching for sure. And if she doesn't like it, I'm sure I still will. All right, let's do the ceremonial recapping of picks. The official Ringerverse Recommend selections for September 2024. From Mallory Rubin, Lego Star Wars Rebuild the Galaxy on Disney+. From Van Lathan, Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection Arcade Classics on Switch, Steam, and PlayStation, plus Xbox next year. From Jomi Adeniran, the movie The Substance. From Arjuna Ramgopal, the movie Beetlejuice Beetlejuice. I won't say it a third time. From me, The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon, The Book of Carol on AMC. From Joanna Robinson, Somewhere Beyond the Sea, the second book in the Cerulean Chronicles by T.J. Klune. From Charles Holmes, Hayao Miyazaki and the Heron. From Steve Allman, Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2 for PS5, Windows, and Xbox. From Jonathan Kerma, a.k.a. Kerm, Marvel's Ultimate Spider-Man. And from listener Elsie Gagan, the animated movie The Wild Robot. By the way, Charles's pick, the doc, that's on Max. 30 days, half September, and we needed every one of them to get this episode out. But hey, we made it. Thanks for listening and or watching, and please keep your emails coming to ringerverserecommends@gmail.com, both because we want to know what you recommend and also because we crave validation. More recommendations are on tap for October. For now, please stay tuned to the Ringerverse and House of R for continuing coverage of Rings of Power, The Penguin, and Agatha All Along, as well as instant reactions and deep dives for The Joker, Venom, and more. On Butt Mash, we'll be planning to look back at Alien Isolation as it turns 10, and we've also got some forthcoming big games and game adaptations to cover, including Tomb Raider, The Legend of Lara Croft, and Like a Dragon Yakuza. Thanks to Arjuna Ramgopal for his senior podcast management, and to Steve Allman for producing this episode. We'll talk to you in October as we get closer to spooky season, and in the meantime, we hope you'll recommend The Ringerverse.